And now I'm live. It's always the awkward bit at the beginning where you start your lives and it's all quiet. So, let's see. Miss Moore. Hi everyone to already popping up.
Yay!
There we go.
Oh, you look smart in your shirt and I'm in a hoodie. Oh dear.
Well, should I tell the truth? It's an illusion. I've got shorts on under it down below. So I was like, I'm going to try. I'll meet you halfway.
It's
So
like me working from home. It's exactly what I do most
I
of the
thought
time.
I thought that's what I was doing. So I was like, I'll go halfway
Oh, I
and I'll
love
put a
that.
top on.
Look at me finally meeting the famed author of Brent, the missing
I think it's
reindeer.
the other way round. I think it's the other way round.
It was honestly that book. Oh, the amount of times we read that over Christmas, constant.
Good to hear. Well,
Yeah, little
he's sick.
one loved it. Yeah, I
She's
know.
just
I don't.
sitting up there on my
When
shoulder. There she is.
you when you shared Brent, I was like, where can I get one? Where can I get one? You're like, no, not yet. I was like,
No,
oh, really want one. You got your cuppa? You got your brew?
well,
Is it
I
in a
knew it was
teacher
going to be
mug?
a little while, so I got a giant mug, and it's like I saw this one, and I was like, teachers say this nearly every day in a polite manner. So,
I mean, in your head, aren't you? Hmm.
well, sometimes, and sometimes it slips out. So,
Oh
yeah,
no, I was key stage 1. Couldn't get away with that. My goodness.
I know.
You got
Four.
you're the older ones,
Yeah,
aren't you? Are you
key
the older
stage
ones?
4. So
What age is that?
that's
That's teenagers.
oh yeah, I'm teenager, so I'm 14 to 16 officially.
Oh my god.
But
So, yeah, today's little live, we're just having a little chat, aren't we?
we
Having a
are.
catch up. We've been meaning to do this for ages, and then life happens, and then you just don't do it. And then I was like, nope, we need to
Yeah, we're
just
doing
get on
this.
a live, have a little catch up. And yeah, if anyone has any questions for me or for Mark, then feel free to put them in the comments. If not, I'm gonna just keep asking Mark questions.
I'll
Because
try and answer
honestly,
some back.
your page,
So
I see you. I'm just like, honestly, I would do like a day of teaching, go home and just like, you know, fall on the sofa in exhaustion. And you're like, just, I'm just going to do a workout, or I'm just going to write another play, or
another book.
publish a book.
Yeah, it's a little bit mad. Maybe first of all, what we should do is introduce
Yeah,
ourselves, because I think I've got some
go for it.
followers cropping up who don't know you. So if you introduce yourself
Yeah,
and
go.
what you're about.
Absolutely. So I'm Jo. I'm Miss More No More came about when I left teaching after 10 years. So I started my page as a bit of one of these to teaching, because before that I had no social media whatsoever, because I was so terrified, which is one of the questions actually I wanted to ask you, Mark, about social media and being a teacher and stuff. So yeah, I didn't have any social media before that. Started my page just as poking a bit of fun at education and what life is like as a teacher. And yeah, and it's sort of, I call it my joke that's got out of hand.
Yeah. I think that's what all like Instagram teachers start off. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to put this little rude thing.
Yeah,
It's like, actually, I can get away with a little
keep
bit more
getting
than
away.
this. Just how far can I poke
Yeah,
this before I
and
get in trouble?
it did start off, I still had a bit of PTSD and a bit of like, anxiety about posting things, even though I'd quit teaching and obviously not teaching at all. I was still so nervous posting, and then after a while you're like, whatever, don't care. So yeah, that's me. Taught, yeah, I was a teacher for 10 years, taught Key Stage 1 predominantly, did some Key Stage 2 as well. Left teaching, went and did supply tutoring just as my get out, reset the brain. And now I'm an education coordinator, which, yeah, is what
Enjoy it.
I
Happy,
do now.
happy,
Pardon?
happier now.
Yeah. I just, it's just having your life back
Mm.
a little bit. That's my story anyway. Obviously, I know you're still teaching, so, but for me, it just, the values just didn't align anymore. So it was just time to go. And it was a few years in the making, but it wasn't till I went back that full year after COVID,
Yeah.
and not everything. Apparently schools closed, but obviously we know they didn't. Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Oh.
It was that full year back that I was like, this is my last year. I'm done. I'm definitely done now. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
And I was just going to say, after COVID, schools are so different anyway. They aren't the same place anymore.
Yeah.
At all. It's a very different landscape and way of teaching. It's just,
and it was really
not the same.
noticeable with teaching Key Stage 1 after lockdown.
Yeah.
How much more nurture we had to do as opposed to previous years that I've taught, with them missing out so much on nursery and early years experience and things like that. But the expectations and the phonics test still went ahead. So
Cha-ching.
anyway, again, story for another day.
Yeah. Or later.
So yeah, do you want to introduce yourself, Mark?
I'll introduce myself. So I'm Mark, the face of Harrington Projects. My full-time job is a special needs teacher for a smallish school. So there's about 200 students at the moment. I worked there for 3 years as an LSA, then left, and then came back as a teacher. I've been there teaching for 10 years. I'm now head of Key Stage 4. And no day's the same, ever.
I love your week videos. They are brilliant. I saw one of your week, like a week in the life of, it was like the first day, you were like, there was like some swimming, and then you were doing cooking, and then you were doing sports, and then you were like shaving. What was that one about? I was like, why is he shaving? But then obviously with teenagers,
yeah,
I assume you're teaching them that skill.
Yeah, it's because we have quite a cohort of single parents, and it's just a thing I've always done. Even as an LSA, I teach them how to shave or show them how to shave. It's the funniest, weirdest lesson in the world, because I'm at the front and hacking my face to pieces. But we do it with like an electric razor first of all, and they get to do a little bit on my face with an electric razor. Don't let them near my face with the actual blade. But no,
absolutely
not. So it's a PSHE lesson I do, and I'll say they get to shave my legs as well, because it's just the technique of this is how you do it. And
brilliant. That was really funny. Yeah, I saw that video and I was like, what's he doing? But then now you said about the age group that you teach, and you know where you teach, I was like, oh yeah, no, that makes absolute sense.
Well, we do everything sensory, or you model everything. So yeah, I've been there for 10 years. My main area of teaching is drama, performing arts, and slowly over the last 4 years or so, I've sort of spread that out across the college. So even though I'm the head of Key Stage 4, I teach high needs students, so ones that don't speak, mobility issues, autism, all the way up to what we would say is like our lower, just below GCSE students. So quite a spectrum of acting and performing in there. So I do lots of different like sensory stories, and just madness. Like we just done a show before Easter, which I wrote, taking the mickey out of our school. So all the characters were teachers in our school when Easter was coming.
The kids love that. They're not kids, are they? Do you still call them your kids?
Well, kids, students.
Yeah, students.
It's flexible. We're not like this is what we call them. It's what it is there. Depends on what mood they're in, if I'm honest, because if they're having like a mature day and we're talking about, we're going to work, fine.
Yeah.
If it's a day when someone's stolen someone's toy car, it's like, no, actually, you're being a kid right now. So, so I'm teaching full time, and then I stumbled into writing just before the pandemic, which I'll talk about probably later. But yes, stumbled into writing, and it's just carried on. Been very lucky to work on some amazing projects, and then just found the confidence basically just to try and do a bit of my own stuff and trying to get it out there. So it's been a journey, and no project's the same, and always learning something. But I think taking parts of my teaching and using that for my stories, etc., it's been just brilliant to take some of that and actually use it in school and go, you can do this, you can write this. So I have got my little script writing club now that come in at lunchtime, and they like me to check the little scripts and how they're doing. So yes, yes, that's me, busy.
Yeah, so busy. That's what I said in my story. I was like, I just see you and you're just spinning your little plates. Like, it's just incredible. Because I know a lot of teachers in general are just really creative, and obviously you in particular are really creative. And that route that going down, like doing the playwriting and the story writing and stuff and the books, I bet there's just so many teachers that could go down that route. And you know, what was your very first thing that you wrote that you got
so
out?
my first major project, I'm trying to find it, was with the Breck Foundation. So it's a charity who work about online safety for children. And sadly, it started up after 14-year-old Breck was murdered by someone he met online, and he was groomed by someone he thought was his best friend.
So based on true story?
Yeah, based on true story.
Oh my God.
And yeah, so the older kid was 17, and basically promised Breck the absolute world, that he could run a business for him, with loads of money. And the charity actually came into our school and were doing a presentation about how to develop SEND, their work they do with SND. And it was just like sitting there going, yeah, you got some of it, but you've missed that kid won't get that one, won't get the same. You need to have massive differentiation. So just got talking and said, well, if I was doing it, I would do this. This is how I would do it. And it just ended up being a conversation where I then said, like, let me just write something for you. Let me write what I would write down as a story, which turned into This is Breck. But then got to meet Breck's mum, who runs the charity, and just talking to her and saying, look, this story is really, really powerful. Like, even your face when I said what happens, you went, whoa, whoa. But like the impact it has on children and students is incredible. So I went away and I wrote This is Breck, which is like a 4+ version. So it's very basic. It doesn't go into the details of exactly what happened, but it does say he was killed by his friend. I then went on to write Breck and the Online Troll, so it goes up a level to like a graphic novel. And then wrote Play Virtual Live Real, which is like a 12+ version, which has tidbits of conversations and messages that actually went between Breck and Lewis, the killer. And yeah, that was a really exciting project because, funny enough, when I was at school, my drama teacher said to me I'd never amount to anything in drama. So, and he was a supply teacher at the time.
Why do people say that to?
I don't know, because they're just idiots. But it was one of those things that sticks in your head.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
And like, it was on that cusp of choosing your options at year 9. I was like, maybe I should do something like this, and actually stepped away from that whole thing for ages. It's just like, no, I can't do it. So it was nice to have some validation that actually what I can write and what I can do is good. And yeah, it went really well, and we got Judi Dench read the play and recommended it. And then on top of that, I wrote 3 songs, pieces of music, because with SND kids, music is like a massive piece. Whenever I'm doing work with them, there's always some music on to emote what you're trying to get across. And so I wrote 3 songs to go with it, and when we put it as like a big package, and within the first year it was nominated for an award, which
So,
like going from
have we found this supply teacher? Have we messaged them? Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Who right?
So yeah, it was like that. That was just mad. So it just gave me the confidence to go. Actually, I can do something with this. I can put the time and effort into learning how to do it, because it is every single project I've done, I've learned something other to go on with the next one. And that was my first big project. And then I was lucky enough, I got invited to work on a short film on YouTube, which was very similar themes of online safety, but I directed directly to girls. So, and that's called, I'm just checking what it's called, Maya Story. And that was really fun because I drew the pictures and they just transformed it for me. And I was like, that's really cool. Yeah, so that one. And then I went on to I'm trying to think of my other projects. So I did another project with a charity called the DSM Foundation. I seem to go for all the hardcore stories to start off with. They all just seem to find me straight away. And that's about a guy called Daniel, and another true story. 17, went out on a night out and took MDMA for the first time and overdosed. But within the inquest to what happened, they found that the drug dealer had given the baggies and had put Daniel's dose was 12 times stronger than a normal dose. He just, whatever had happened, he put all the drugs into separate baggies, given them to these kids, and Daniel's was 12 times stronger, and he'd taken the whole lot. So yeah, that was really, really impactful, and I was very honoured that I got to meet Daniel's best friend called Jack, who was superb, and he sat with me for about 4 hours during COVID. It was one of the first times we could go and meet up. We met up in this little pub, and he just told me from beginning to end everything that happens, and it turns into the book and play that I wrote for that charity. And it's just like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, but it was so nice just for Jack to be so honest with how he felt things went as well, because obviously being there and seeing it is very different from what the police officer and everyone else said. So that's been really fun. And then I felt I was being too heavy for a while, so I wrote my first children's book.
Yeah. I love the posts about this one when you just it's not I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's just you walking around putting false teeth in random places. Yeah. I was like, what is he doing? What's he up to?
Places. So to be fair, it's actually loosely based on a true story.
Yeah, I think you made a reel about it actually, about what, or did you do a live?
Yeah, so we had gone to the beach with my in-laws, and it was meant to be one of those really nice days out, and it was just like all the boxes ticked as we were going through. So we got in the car, we had an oil leak in the back seat of our car, and my poor mother-in-law had sat in it, so got up in her shorts, and it looked like she'd had a major accident. We then got to the beach, and my youngest at the time had an argument with my wife over the ice cream flavour or something ridiculous.
One of those days.
It was just one of those days. Everything was ticking along. So I was like, right, I've got 5 minutes. I'm just going to chill here for a bit. La la la. My father-in-law took the girls down to the sea, which was a little bit choppy that day, and said probably shouldn't get in. And the next thing, I'm getting, Mark, come here. And I was like, just give me 5 minutes. No, calm down. This massive wave had knocked the three of them right over, and also knocked out his teeth. So we spent the rest of the day looking for these teeth up and down.
That is brilliant.
To the point where I had to go and ask the lifeguard that was on duty, had he seen any teeth?
So that inspired the book.
That inspired the book.
Love that.
On the way back, we had a chat what had happened to Grandad's teeth. So mermaids had used them, and crabs had stolen them, and that's where that all came from. And that's just a bit of fun. It's just so
I love that.
fun and silly. but it was nice for my girls because they were immortalised in that book, and
Yeah.
that day is immortalised. That memory is always there. And then, as you mentioned, I went on to Brent, his Brent,
Yay.
Santa's Missing Reindeer,
So cute.
which I wrote for my dad because he was one of these grumpy bastards, basically, who throughout our childhood was like, oh, no, 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 don't do Christmas. Your black bag's out as soon as the presents come out.
Yep.
And then when I had kids, suddenly it was like, right, let's get on Groupon. Let's get every single thing we can possibly find. And he went to some flea market and found a 6-foot reindeer, which goes on his roof every year. And it's like pulley system up onto the roof. And it's just, I was just like, I just have to write this little story about Brent because it was just in my head. So yeah, that was fun Christmas story. But yeah, that's the main books that are out there at the moment. Which from starting thinking you couldn't write to having, I think it's 7 books out.
It's just something I think, like, any teachers out there, you know, I know they don't obviously have a lot of time on their hands, but just from a point of view of just something to, so teaching doesn't all encumber you all the time, and that lovely side of using your creativity to create
it's also
something.
a way of releasing some of your anything that's happened to you as well. Because I'll carry on, but like my play that I'm working on the moment, which people have seen, Big Man, Little Man, pop up quite a few times. The story, I'll just flash a picture so people know onto it. So it all looks this colour and blue.
I know that one.
Little Man.
Yeah, seen that one on. Yeah.
So that for me, that's like the most personal piece ever. And basically, it came about because I worked with a student for 3 years. I had him. He came up to my class early because he was the class bad boy in year 9. He was on the cusp of being chucked out. Basically, he was a nightmare, and came up to me early, and drama changed him. He became a lovely, amazing kid who started leading our shows. Blah blah blah. Just became a little superstar is the only way we can describe it. And then a girl came along, to our new girl to our school, and he changed for the worst for a very long time. But by that point, we and him had bonded quite well, and I bonded well with the family, because SND schools, you get to know the family quite well because you talk about all their health issues, home issues, everything sort of blends together. And things just spiraled out of control massively. He just wasn't talking to anyone. She had basically, from the conversations we ended up having after what happened, had abused him into doing all sorts of stuff. But we're talking about 15 and 14-year-old kids here. We're not talking about adults. We're talking about SND kids being able to manipulate each other and do what they want to do. And yeah, he just got very lost for a long time, and I ended up being the only one really you would listen to, talk to, which is a lot of pressure. And it's a bit horrible. It ruffled a few feathers at the school because no one else could get through to him. The relationship wasn't like what I would say a normal student thing relationship, and I knew that. And there was a lot of barriers to me trying to help him and make sure that he was okay. And in the end, the girl got pregnant in not unwise circumstances, is the only way I can describe it. So yeah, then it was trying to get him to recover from that point, and then him being messed around basically with the custody of his child. So and we nearly lost him for a bit, like so there's a scene in the play where basically I'd had to go around the house because the family could not get him out of the room. He'd been 2 weeks in his room, and basically I'm sitting on the floor in his bedroom, mum's down sitting on the stairs, and him telling me that he had tried to end it and stuff. So for me, Big Man Little Man is taking that moment and trying to process all of it. But funnily enough, as the day he was leaving school and everything was sorted, he was on the way. He's one of my big success stories. He's got a job now, making money, he's bought a car. So he's a massive success story, but he knew I'd started writing as I was leaving, and he'd read very early drafts of some of my early work. And he said, look, I know it might be too much for some people, but I don't want this to happen to other people. So could you write something about what I've done and share what's gone on? So he has an early draft of Big Man Little Man. Like I said, it's a massive therapy thing for me that I was able to do it and write it out, because I didn't think I, on a personal level, was going to be able to, because it was, like I said, 3 years, and it was traumatizing for everyone involved. Even like my LSAs at the time, we all still talk about what happened in that situation, how could we have changed it, what could we have done differently. And yeah, so I put it in a play, which it took a long time to write, and I've done one reading now. My first draft was an 8-hour special. It was way too long. And then I did one November, October time last year, where I hired actors and actresses to come along and act it out. And that was really weird, because the first one I'd had people who knew me, knew the characters and what it was about. And then when you bring people that don't know anything about you or what happened,
they bring to it.
And it was just like the mum and son we had were just insane. Like, it was like having a ghost of that kid in the room at one point, because he just nailed it. And we'd spent a lot of time talking about how the character came across and how we behaved, but it was just like, this is a little bit close for me. I'm like, this is weird. And it's very weird seeing someone playing yourself as well and repeating things you said. Because how we used to communicate was actually writing things down. So I've got like a pile of notes from him, which for some reason I didn't throw away. I've still got them, and it's sometimes word for word, right, what happened.
I mean, teachers are orders to
play. So yeah, that's the big thing at the moment, trying to get a producer involved in it, so it gets out into the world. Yeah, it's one of those things where people read it and then they go that there's something here, there is something that's it's just finding the right person at the right time, which, touch wood, it will happen at some point.
And not giving up on it as well, I imagine. You just got to keep going.
And
keep plugging away.
I think that's one of the things I was going to say about teaching and writing. They're very different speeds, and I didn't really understand that going into the business. Like, teaching, it is, you've got a deadline, we've given you this to do, we say you've got a week, we want it in the next day, basically, is how it usually works. It's
pretty
like
much.
Whereas anything creative, writing, etc., it's like, right, your first draft, you do your second draft, you do your third draft. In case of Big Man, it's 5 years and 7 drafts later, so it's just coming back to it now and again and seeing what's changed. So
it just sounds like an incredible story. And talking like that, just, do you think anyone outside of teaching ever thinks of things like that, like those kids and those families? Like,
no,
there's always these moments with families. I've got to think, I'm just through COVID alone, like, we were dropping off food packages for families, we were doing things like welfare. Obviously we're not social workers, but we care about these families and we are that connection. And that's what annoys me about people who say about teachers not deserving the pay rises, not like, where you get all these holidays, and it's like, but during those holidays we cannot stop thinking about those children who we've sent home.
You lose sleep over them. You lose sleep over those kids, and it's like,
there's no other job like it.
No,
there just isn't. And
like,
like you saved that kid's life essentially, and you know,
and that's what people say to me. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't think I did. I think I was just the right person at the right time, and that was it. That's all I see it as. But other people are like, no, that he would have gone, who God knows where. So yeah, but I'm very lucky with him and his family that we are still connected. He's just turned 90.
Amazing. He's doing so well.
Oh yeah,
love that.
Well,
what was the car he bought? What did he get?
I think he's got a Renault Clio type thing, but he had a motorbike first of all. He made a promise to me very early on when we started working together that he always had. He must have had this thing in his head, but he would always was going to buy me a pint. If he'd had a bad day and he'd kicked off or anything.
There you go. There's the teacher perks.
Once I'm sorted out and I've left it, I'm going to buy a pint. And it happened. And his face when he bought me that pint, it was just like, you've waited for this for years. But yeah, he's a special one. We're not allowed to have favourites, but he's one of the ones where you go.
I mean, that's a load of rubbish. Of course, teachers have favourites.
He's one of those ones where you go, I'm not going to forget you. And he won't let me forget him because he messages is like every week. So it's like, it's gone past that relationship now. But yeah, he's awesome. A good one. So yeah, that's my project. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that is. I just wanted to ask about it because I know, you know, not saying that you would ever want to leave teaching, but it could end up being a full-time job for you, couldn't it? Going down that route, and and for other teachers as well, if that's what they want to do, that'd be.
Yeah, and there's lots of companies out there now looking for teacher writers for their businesses. I just haven't found the right one to connect for me right now. And also, I've got a family, etc. And I'm not a celebrity writer. I'm a 2,000 follower Instagrammer at the moment. I don't have that star appeal yet. We're going to say that. Yeah, no, don't have that star appeal yet. To be demanding loads of money going into these early stages in these projects. So it's, for me at the moment, is trying to work alongside those companies to make sure that I can support my family, as well as trying to do some of this dream, which isn't always easy, and it does take time away for them. But I'm very lucky that my wife supports me on everything I do, and just gives me the time to get it out there. But also, it's just that chance for my kids to see, if you do something and takes time, you can do it. And I always say to them,
absolutely.
I told you about Mr. Brown at my school, said I couldn't do this. Well, actually, to be funny enough, he's the bad teacher in my play. He's Mr. Brown. He's got a full name. He's in there. It's like, boom.
He's in there. I'm not even changing his name. Nope. He's in there.
He's in there.
Bad Mr. Brown.
Bad Mr. Brown is in there. He's there. But yeah, I'm very lucky, and I've been very graced with lots of opportunities that have come my way, and I've worked with some amazing people and amazing companies who have guided me in my writing and what I can do, and just open doors basically. Because I think that's anything creative. It's all about, everyone says, oh, it's about the right time. It's about who you know, your connections. And I've been very lucky to meet some,
though, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes. And I think I've been very lucky to meet and be invited to some very amazing things. So we'll see what.
Name drop Judi Dench in there as well, as well.
Yeah. Me and Judy are like that, so no, I was very lucky with that one. Very lucky.
That's incredible.
She heard that I was working. She heard I was working. A friend of a friend was working around her at the time, and she just name dropped, oh, he's working on this play for Breck, and she knew about the Breck, and she's, no, I want to read that. And I was like, okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, Judy, take this. But yeah, I got a nice letter from her. It's up there somewhere.
Oh, incredible.
There it is, up there. It's from Judy saying how impactful it was. How much she loved it. Yeah.
So we're gonna scan that and send that to Mr. Brown as well, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Oh yes.
not
Oh,
petty at all.
No.
Yeah, awesome. So projects, teaching, yeah, it's good. Obviously, the process for a lot of writers is writing about what you know, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. I mean, because every teacher, I feel like they think, I can write a children's book. I could do it. I've got loads of ideas.
Yeah. Well, I think it's that thing of just taking that leap of faith that you can.
And just going for it, yeah.
You're going to get loads of rejection. That's part of the process. You're going to get rejected left, right and centre. And I think what teachers are good at is being storytellers anyway. And it's a natural thing if you're a teacher to tell stories. So and we all have our ways of telling stories, and it's just translating that into a different form. And some work, some don't. I know I've written some rubbish and gone, no, that's staying right in my pad. It's not going any further than that. That's staying there. And then other ideas, you're like, yeah, I'm going to run with it. Like when I said to my LSA, I'm writing a book about my my father-in-law's teeth. She was like,
"You sure?"
He's finally lost the plot. He's snorted way too much glitter over a production, too much glitter hairspray in costume. He's lost it. So, but yeah, I think that's the other thing is teachers support each other as well. Like the community I have on here it's lovely that we've got a mixture of writers, teachers, theatre people all mixed together who all support in their own little different ways, and just pushing each other forward. And I think that's what's an amazing thing about Instagram and social media is that there is this community that want to help each other. Obviously, it doesn't come without the bad points, but we are here to help each other, and that's part of us being teachers as well. We want to help everyone out and push them forwards where we can.
Yeah, definitely. Like I get a lot of messages asking for advice and help and stuff, and I try and answer every single one as much as I can.
So how do you feel about social media? Like, is it a burden or is it a good thing?
I still enjoy it.
That's good.
It's not got to a point where I'm like, oh God, got to upload. Because every day I remember something, or I see like a teacher post something and I'm like, oh bloody hell, that's made me think of this. And the school business manager, that's a new one, because my I'm just trying to choose my words carefully here. So my sister-in-law has just got a job working as a business manager at the school, and I was like, oh bloody hell, when I was a NQT, ECT, whatever they're called now, we had one, and the stories from that just, so all those little sketches are basically based on her, not my sister-in-law obviously, based on this business manager that I had when I first started teaching. And she was fierce. Like, we had a fantastically healthy school budget and everything was ticking along. Everything was very organised, but she was terrified, absolutely terrifying. So when I make video just exaggerated based on her, basically. But then she left working in a school, and then I saw her when I was going to jury. I was summoned to do jury service, and I saw her. She had makeup on, her hair done. She was like whistling, walking down the street. I was like, oh, it was the school. It was the school that made you like that. Okay, got it. But so it's based on her, but the messages are so mixed, and I get a lot of messages about, we're just trying to keep to a budget. We're not trying to be mean. And other teachers are like, yeah, mine's bloody horrible. She hides glue sticks. So there is I still find it really fun. My page has changed and evolved, and I'm trying to keep up with that. Like, obviously, I'm fully aware that this year in September, I've been out of the classroom for 2 years. which is crazy.
Yeah.
Really crazy. I feel like it's just flown by. So I'm trying to move away from the teachery, gimmicky sort of stuff that I do, that although I super enjoy, and I think I'm hilarious, so I like to.
If you can't laugh at yourself, then there's no point.
I show my other half, and he's like, such an idiot. I'm like laughing at myself, like, look how funny I am.
It's the look, isn't it? That's the look you get.
Absolutely not. Anyone who doesn't work in a school, they just don't get it. So yeah, but I'm sort of evolving more into supporting and sharing the journey of
moving on
mental health a lot, because I won't lie, teaching broke me utterly and completely. But you know, that's down to me and my mindset and how I was at that time, and a lot of problems that were a lot bigger than me, that I'm not one of these people. If I don't think I can do a job well, I'm not one to just sit there and half-ass it. I'm not. If I'm going to do so, I want to do it well. So yeah, and I just couldn't with teaching. The budget was being slashed. We had redundancies. We had the level of additional needs, but not having the money to support them. And you just constantly, you're looking around at these kids and you're thinking, oh, I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more. I'm only one woman, and I've got my TA. I'm very lucky, but we shared that TA between the year. So yeah, it just got to a point. So now, social media is just moving more to supporting teachers with mindset, helping teachers. What else is out there really? Because I
think lots of people now I think lots of people getting to a point now where, whereas before it was a career you could go for a long time, you could start and you can finish. Lots of the conversations I have is, I can only see me doing this for a certain point and then stopping. And I think I was having this conversation where I say the other day, as a physical role my job is, also being a drama teacher on top of that, like dancing around, jumping off things, it's like I don't think I can sustain that for a long time, and then I can't see how I would go back necessarily into the English maths route straight away, because it's not where my talents necessarily. I could probably do English because that's right and stuff, but like if I was asked to go back into science or something, it's just like I can't see how I'd want to do that. And I recently had a thing back from my teacher training people that like 60% of the cohort I was with are now quit teaching.
Wow. I'd be interested to know what mine is.
It was quite a shock to go, wow, that's not even, and like even like down the numbers, it wasn't like the other 40% were still teachers. They were maybe associated with schools, or it wasn't like, wow, that's huge. And I just think, like, I think a huge effect on schools. Like I can see it from where some of my students are and students coming up. There's just this weird like bubble of just not quite, everything's pushed behind, the emotional level, everything. And I just think the needs of what demands on a teachers, I can't see myself being able to keep up with them for.
And I think that was a tipping point for me. I remember I was sat in my classroom once and I was like, right, I'm 30 something, and I was thinking like, I got another like 30 odd years of this. Can I do that? Can I really do that? And I was just like, absolutely, I don't even think I could do another 6 months, let alone another like 20 or 30 years. And I think that was a light bulb moment. And I was just so physically, mentally exhausted all the time. I was just like, I feel like, are we laughing at the age? And I just couldn't picture it. I couldn't see a future for me, a happy future with teaching in it. And I think that was just like decision made. And it's a real shame because, like, you know, I'd been at the same school for a long time. I taught siblings, you know, the younger ones, and as they've gone up, then the younger ones, and then the old ones are gone, and then the younger ones have come up, and I was a bit like, what's his face, Professor Slughorn.
Oh yeah.
I like the set. I like the
No.
set. I want to get the set. So it was like I was teaching siblings, which meant to have really good relationships with the families and stuff, and they'd known me for years. And it was just all of that. Like, there's so much of teaching that I do honestly truly miss. I take the piss out of teaching all the time, and say about the elements of it that I wrote, but there is so much to teaching that is incredible, like your story with the connection with the family and helping and all of that. Yes, they should have paid schools.
I agree with that. You do a certain amount of time, you get a break. Completely agree with that. Wow, that comment.
Imagine the amount of teachers that they would retain if they did that. But
yeah, I know that private schools do it.
Yeah,
private schools definitely do it. If you've worked there for 10 years or so, you get a 3-month sabbatical to keep you on board, paid as well. One of my friends who worked in private got a free flight as well. Wrong area. I'm in the wrong area.
Hell.
So, but yeah,
it's just. But there was it. I just felt like I had this big boulder in front of me, and I felt like I was holding like all these little tiny children's, you know, all their learning and everything, and their families, and the area that I taught in, we had, you know, not every family was incredibly fortunate. So then you would worry about these children and making sure that they had everything that they needed. And I felt like I was like pushing up this hill, and at the top of the hill was like the government, and they were just like, "You shall not pass." And I'm like, "Please, I just want to help." And it just got to a point where it was like that pressure was too much. And then when you become a parent, then you're like,
changes
everything.
everything.
This one means the most now.
What I found was when I took on my key stage leader job, that year was, I think, my breaking year. And I've only been doing it for 2 years. It was my breaking year where I was really like, this is going to sway one way or the other, because I'd worked in the school for nearly 9 years before that. So I've been an LSA before. So they knew me as an LSA, they knew me as a teacher, and just the whole change in dynamic from going teacher and still being in the same school where, like, some of the LSAs I'd literally worked with as an LSA, and now I was their line manager. It was just like, that's a crazy jump. And just like the responsibility was just like, okay, this is a
lot. A lot of pressure.
It is a lot. But like when I say key stage, I've got 6 classes. It's more the staff. Like, because we're at SND school, we've got 3 or 4 LSAs in each class. So it's juggling all of them.
Are they worse than the kids? Are they on here now? We'll have to wait and see.
See if someone pops up. But yeah, there's a lot of politics in schools. We all know there's politics.
Oh yeah.
So it's not always easy juggling those people, the staff. But I think I was on the cusp of just going, yes, this is it. I'm going. And then I think at the same combination, I had the worst year group I've ever had as well. Just the class were, oh my god, something.
The worst year group you've had yet.
No, I cannot beat that group. It was, you couldn't leave and turn your back for a second, because they would literally be jumping.
I remember having one of
across the tables. It was 5 of them in a class of 12, and we had, how many LSAs did we have? We had 4 LSAs because of that clientele at that time, and it was every day I was writing something up. I was phoning a parent about something or other. It was just and it was just like, I don't think I can do this with. And then I got my current class, who are just
Dreamy.
top. Oh, they're
I
just
feel like they do that to you on purpose, because I remember having a really challenging year, and I think I probably cried every day that year. It was just horrendous. And then I just had this little dreamboat of a year come up, and I was just like, I felt like they've done that to me. I feel like they're like, oh yeah, she's had a bad year.
no.
Let's give her a nice class to keep her.
I'm very, very touch wood lucky with my class this time. I've got an all boy group.
Lively bunch.
Yeah.
Yes, lively. Yeah, what words do we use to describe these?
Lively, challenging,
lively, excitable,
mind-boggling would be one of mine.
Someone said, I'm just scrolling back up, someone said that some academies do offer sabbaticals. There we go.
Sorry, send their details.
I was going to say, you got any vacancies?
Anyone?
Yeah.
My class at the moment are lovely.
Oh.
Most days they're lovely. There's some old students popping up now. I think that was one of the questions you were going to ask me, was about handling, because obviously being a teacher and on Instagram and every other platform, and trying to do the business the way I'm doing it, I have to have a public profile.
Yes, you have to have it open.
Only way
See, I don't have my comments on.
So I can only I have to do it publicly, and I have to be able to contact people, because you're trying to publish work, and you need to. What I've made sure is that anyone I'm currently teaching is gone. I don't let anyone see stuff, but inevitably the older students manage to find my ex-students find my stuff, and it gets passed on via that way. So it's quite funny sometimes. You walk into class and students go, "Oh, you did this in your video today. What are you dancing today?" It's like,
you're like, thanks for the views. Cheers.
Top it up, please.
Keep sending it. I don't mind.
But yeah, I think that's my thing, is I have to sort of restrict my tongue sometimes and what I want to say, and be a bit more PG than I probably am and should be. But I think a good thing that comes from it is, like, I do a lot of online safety work with them, and I can say to them, look, this is what's happened with my profile. This is some of the comments I've got. Like, I had a really nasty troll when I was doing the Breck stuff, came after me. Yeah, I
mean that literally, it just proves the point of play as well.
Like, basically this guy was saying that I was using Breck's story to make money off his death, but all the money from Breck books goes back to, I was going to say,
isn't it a charity?
It's a charity, so I don't make any money from it. And said that, and he just,
people are awful.
And so I was able to I've saved the messages and showed them to the kids, but also just like being aware of where stuff goes and whatnot. And it's always quite fun. Like, you'll see now and again, I'll do a post where I say, look, I'm going to post this. How far does it go? How quickly does it go around the world? And lucky enough, I got enough followers that I think last time I did a video, it ended up in Australia within 1 second. So they left the classroom, was like, someone in Australia seen your photo, awkward. And they're like, whoa.
It's a good life lesson. Really good lesson.
I think it's just being able to show them a positive of using social media. And I always say to them, you're not going to become superstars necessarily. You've got to find out what you're about and who you're about, fine, but do it safely. And if you're not happy, get off it. And like, I've had to take breaks off this before. Just, it does become too much, like books and family and stuff. You just sometimes have to go, right, not today. It's not going to help anyone.
Yeah, because I went through a bit where I just sort of like reposted old stuff, and then some other bits where I was just like, I wasn't putting my face on anything, and that pure, again, it was just like I didn't really at that point in time, I only had the energy to do those weird cap cut ones, which again I find funny, but I just didn't have the energy to like put my face on.
I think my students can get, like, it isn't the be all end all.
Mm.
It is a bit of a laugh. It's not serious, and not, this is my life, and what you're seeing on here isn't necessarily everything I do all the time.
No.
But probably is most of the time with, like, writing in schools and stuff. But it's just showing them that it can be healthy, because I think sometimes, especially in teaching, we do nag on about the negativity of what we do and stuff, and actually we learn quite a lot. Like, we're learning from each other, we're connecting.
100%.
And it's just like, actually, this is how the world works a bit now.
Yeah,
so
but it's just knowing how to be safe and
Exactly.
comfortable, and that's the reason I don't have my comments on. So someone's just written a really lovely comment. I don't know if it's me, you, who else, but and then also, yeah, Books with Meaning saying, so thank you, that's a nice comment. And yeah, saying we know what you want to say. We read between the lines on your video, Mark, basically.
No idea.
But yeah, so I don't have my comments on. I've had a lot of people say, oh, I've tried to comment on your video, but I can't, and things like that. But, you know, I might have even more of a following if I did turn them on, but then I'm just protecting my peace of mind, and I'm quite a sensitive soul. So I do find it really hard when, like, I got a message about the business manager one, and I was like, we do know it's a joke, don't we? We do know. We know it's a joke.
Yeah.
We do. It's just an exaggerated comedy. I'm not saying every person is.
Yes. I think sometimes social media, we forget that it isn't.
Yeah.
It's sometimes people's views as well. They get mystery, and you can say the wrong thing in the wrong time. Yeah. I've been told off before. I've been taken to the head teacher's office before because I posted something wrong. Oops. But yeah, these things happen.
Well, exactly. And yeah, so I keep comments off, but then something over on TikTok though, you can, so anyone's allowed to comment, but I have to approve or delete it basically, which I really like that feature on TikTok, because then again, I've still got that control over my page. It sounds really weird because I have this page where I upload stuff and it's available to everyone. Yeah,
you still need to protect yourself.
But and then I think people find it weird that they can't then just randomly give their view on something on my video. But at the end of the day,
it's yours.
So people find it really strange. I remember. But the thing is, sometimes when you get comments like that, either I go, oh, that's made me really sad, I don't like that, that's hurt my feelings, or other times I use it for content.
Well,
I've got content now.
I'm ready, bring it on.
Too right. Like, I had that message come into my inbox saying about how disappointed they were that I was encouraging I was encouraging teachers to leave teaching. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Now, what I want to know, was that a teacher? Was it someone in education?
A teacher, actually.
Okay.
It was a teacher.
Well, the thing is, some people are really happy in their jobs. And I will say, I have days where I'm really happy in my job. But then, like, other days, it's just like, no, I'm leaving. When's it get to 4
And
o'clock?
I'm going with the kids. Let's go.
Yeah, I have got to go pick something up for something or other.
Yeah.
I've got to see someone. But yeah, it's I think the whole teaching thing is what really annoys me at the moment, is these adverts to try and get the new recruits of teachers is just like
painful. Did you see that one about the grant they gave to the Scouts? I duetted that. What are you doing? Give it to the teachers.
No.
Retention, not recruitment. So yeah, something that used to get used a lot was this, like, toxic positivity as well. And I often have those kinds of teachers that sort of send me messages about
I know what you're like. I hate on the social media.
I think it's more so on TikTok.
Yeah,
I've seen a few
teachers where they're like, their routine is they work at the weekends. They go into schools and posting videos of them setting up their classrooms at weekends. I find really.
How do they get in the building?
And they might have keys if they're, but it's just like I sit there and I'm just like, that's not the right message. You are not being paid to be in that school at that time. You have your hours. And I think that's something I learned very quickly, is that I needed to separate the two. Is that I knew when I started my NQT, I would go home and I would take things home and do it and be like hours and hours doing it. And then I was like, what? I'm not getting paid for this. So,
and you know what? I remember, like, we'd put obviously I'd worked all day. You know, you leave the house at stupid o'clock, teach all day, then got home, picked up little one from childminders. This is when he was obviously a lot younger. Got home, done the whole bedtime, dinner, and then I sat down and I went to get my laptop out. And my other half just looked at me like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you?" He's like, "Are you getting paid for that?" And I was like, "No, but I need to do it." He's like, "But do you?
No.
Do you?"
No.
Like, and it was that moment. I mean, I did 1 month. I calculated all my hours that I worked in teaching and what I got paid, and then realised it was less than minimum wage, and I was like, right, this needs to stop. But it's hard. I think because your job, you can't do it in the 7.5 hours that you get paid.
No,
it's just not attainable.
No.
Well, I found it wasn't, but
I'm very lucky in that I've worked out a way that I can get to school early. I can get my stuff done before, like the girls go to school with their mum, etc., or the childminder. So I'm in school early, and I get basically an hour or hour-ish of my time, because I actually start 8 now as middle management. So I get an hour to get stuff done, and I won't do anything at home. I very rarely. I say I don't. I very rarely do stuff at home now. So obviously, there's the time like doing production and stuff. I will do it, but I've set myself that boundary that I won't do that anymore. It's not right. It's not fair. Don't get paid for it. But it's just when you see like these, they have thousands of followers, and it's just like that's so wrong. Especially like NQT, seeing
you can't keep it
they're
up.
into school. Oh wow, I should be in as well. It's like, as middle manager, do you also have a teaching role? Yes, I do. I teach. I'm trying to 3 and a bit days. But like when I say I teach 3 and a bit days, I then can be used for cover at any point on my PPAs. I can also my timetable shifts quite a lot to cover different classes and dimensions. So so I run those 6 classes. They're staffing every day, and then our teaching on top of that. And when I'm saying teaching, we do exam work. So you don't get a different pay increment from being that and doing exam work, which we've always found a little bit funny, because there's some teachers, and I don't know how it would work in a secondary school, but for a special needs school, the paperwork that goes with any courseware, you have to write reports on the behaviour of all those kids and how they got to that part on their own. So I've just been answering that question. I hope that answered that. So I do teach at the same time.
What is going on? Hang on. Oh, there we go. I think I finally started putting boundaries in place when coming back after mat leave, and then my childminder was like, if you're late, I'm charging you. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I've got to be there. So I had no choice, had to be out that door at that, when my contract hours ended. So that's it. I have to go. Unless you're going to pay my childminder bill, I've got to go. Obviously, unless there was staff meeting or whatever. I do think when I look back at the amount of time I spent unpaid it's just like, if only I set those boundaries a bit sooner. But anyway.
Yeah, I think when like as being a current teacher and seeing, obviously having a little bit of more of an oversight on my area, what I do try and do with my staff is, if there is a day where you can swap people out, you do that. Or like at the moment, I'm trying to give my people who are doing exam work or getting prepped, I'm trying to just give them a little bit of time. Say, right, I will go in, just let me go in, you go and do that for an hour. But that's me. That's how I work as a manager, as a team. Is I try and do that. Probably isn't good for me, but that's how I work, and I want to get the best out of my team and then feel supported. So I have worries that the more I speak up, the more.
Why can't I see comments? My comments aren't coming up. I don't know.
I don't know. I have worries that the more I speak up, the more it's seen I'm not strong with time management. I've ever felt struggle to put boundaries. Yeah, I think the only way going through with like teaching, and I think you said you're an SND teacher as well, is you've got to raise those voices, your voice as much as you can, and what you need.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're gonna struggle with everything. And the thing it comes back down to is yourself, because you are the best resource in your class. But
yeah, I
find that my students feel your vibe anyway. So if you're feeling tired and you're feeling lethargic, they're just not going to want to engage with you. And I've raised my, especially I think the year just before I got my middle management, I think it was just the year after COVID and how hard everything was, and just saying to people, saying to management that we need more stuff. We need to discuss how we're managing these kids more, because a school is a team, and you shouldn't just be struggling on your own. You should be vocalizing what you need and how you can get that. And I think just as an SND teacher, you need to just be vocalizing it all the time, because then those needs of those kids are higher than other kids, and you just need to make sure you got the right thing for them, because it just spiral out, and then they'll think it's okay. Good. I'm glad we could do that. Now you've got the confidence to do that. So do it tomorrow. Write it down as well. So don't worry about it tonight.
I'm not seeing these questions. What's going on with mine? Oh, you're going to have to read it out, Eddie, out.
Okay. So what they've replied back is, you give me the confidence to try, and another discussion tomorrow with SLT. Thank you. But tonight, don't worry. But
all you can do, all you can do is just talk, and also, I suppose, talking to your colleagues as well. Yeah. If you're feeling that way, chances are somebody else is in your team. And if they're not, they're probably lying.
But I think as well is if you don't vocalize it, then you're not going to know if someone else is feeling that way. If there's another struggle,
they'll just assume you're fine because oh well, nobody said anything. So
this feels like therapy. That's excellent. I feel better.
Catch up. Do you know what? I very rarely do lives. I did one live like randomly a couple of weeks back. I just sort of sat with some music. I was doing a bit of like painting and stuff, but I do enjoy a live. Yeah. I think I just enjoy talking, actually.
Yes.
More than anything.
I do as well. I'm not.
I am sweating
now next time I know that it's going to be a pajama party, so I need to find some pajamas.
We need a theme.
Yeah, theme
each time.
Okay.
And maybe not if it's a Friday. We'll put some gin in this or something.
Oh, I was away last week, and it's all about frozen margaritas. So if anyone on here has a good frozen margarita recipe, please send it my way, because I can't find one. Frozen margaritas.
Can you not just get the pouches and put them in the freezer?
I want someone to tell me the best way.
No,
to do it.
I want someone.
An authentic. I want an authentic recipe of some kind.
What is margarita? Is that tequila?
It's tequila. Yeah.
Here's what I found.
Oh.
My phone. Here's what we found.
Are you a teacher? Here's what I found. Margaritas. Right. Well, it's coming up for bedtime, isn't it? We said we were going to stop at 9. But
so
we've gone over.
Shall we just ask if anyone's got any quick questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone does, then if you happily read it to me, because I don't know what's happened to mine. Everything.
Anyone have any questions? It's gone quiet.
What's that? Oh, you could put filters on. There we go. Didn't know.
Do more
Um,
lives. This has been great. We'll
yeah,
take that.
cool.
Yeah,
We'll
we
do
can do that.
weekly catch up and a cuppa. I mean, not weekly, but whenever. We'll do a midweek one.
Maybe a month. Let's do a month, because then we can find out what everyone's doing monthly.
For sure.
We can start that off. I wish I joined from the start.
Yeah, we were just talking about Mark's projects and stuff. Really interesting.
What we're going to try, I'm going to try and save it. So if anyone has missed bits of this, just freeze pizza margarita. Ha ha ha. No, no, it needs to be stronger than a margarita.
I don't know why I found that so funny. I keep seeing the cushion behind me and thinking there's something behind me. Right.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll save it. We can
But yeah,
we can
if
just
you want to see
do little
more,
snippets and stuff.
yeah, if you want to see more of what we're up to, comment in the bits below when we send it live, and let us know what you want to talk about as well, because there might be something that's cropped up.
Yeah, we didn't
when you
really
watch
plan
it.
anything, did we, for this one? It was just literally a
Yeah.
catch up. But we can always have a sort of topic if people, whatever people want, and we can
Go
have
from
a
there.
chat about that.
Well, it's coming up to bedtime because I've got work in the morning. I've got a full day. I've got catering tomorrow. I
Oh,
don't like it.
the hairnet selfies. Bring them on. We like them.
Yeah. Right. Lovely to speak to you, Joe. And
Lovely to
thank
speak
you
to
to
you too.
everyone for coming on tonight.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
we'll do
Really
another one.
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.